Total Mergid Rogui, Mogiwa House Joint Resolution 11-35-7, el Modongi Tiangia Momo Ngeval Joint Session, el Mokldibla, Mogiu Seigidia, Mo Ongu Asmerel Tiangia Momo Ngeval Joint Session, Ra Olvira Lulaul Mura Order. Floor leader.
Mr. President, malungil total merkau ma Mr. Speaker, direct malungil total ma bekal adala 11 Olbirak Lulaur ti aigal tablol chambers. Malungil total ma Chief Justice bangger al tutau ma bekal okyak sangar gid. Ebos edel maliti al agenda gid ma mebukuntira Pastor Chamberlain Kinciano ra Palau Seventh-day Adventist Church. Mabol Baskira invocation.
Wera di boto tolulu edik pokiwa batsra. Jalbat sa taptikir ngira. The verse is found in Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 14. The Bible says, "A nation without wise leaders will fall. Many good advisors make a nation safe." Malbakatak kalwasi abalu walngia ar mga taklela dia kalamalom sa arwebeta ngwasi ngogiwa to kalosi sa akla ya balu wasabel sa labakla dodolulu edal Dios nga rayang at gimer madam relal tutaw ter kamameru bage mo alter go kertial ngiyong yewal joint session relal tutaru bak Gumraru bakal wasi kau ang arngia mukti kau el girela klangar kamam girela blumam aku mraru bakal wasi kingili titri tirkaro kui el tiram ngataklam rablur belau el metmak lengarngi aswam lolisa kertir ngarngi agilin ngatmok el giramar adar belau diregalo dosia ambasador amrigel el ngia mo ngadadu Relal tutau po sebe meruba kalmasang ay gerogul lom serabab may gerogul tokol niya mo sebel mo share relal tutau el mo ngosutri tirgal mo taklam mapol sabire ruba kalmutel mom sisira urelir epol blakaran rir el masyor kamam aradar belaw mablumam maloter gaklia president la senet ay del ngartiang ma gal mataklam na delegate direct matiga rogul senators ma delegate sa ngartiang tiga rogul del tiramnel al tutaw po sa bamiru bakal motmag egim kay ngasew egim mongot mok rablumam mar adar belaw masabelang klemel motang sa matngak lekor kaw kamal masaw le pamamukal tangat at tial sesyon al tutaw tiang nungu amal gimodersi nga naklelang algem ni Jesus em no madra krusel giram amen.
Kada malmal mra agenda gid makulingi tarbek laad mabol sa edel mo door bol sa edel tira Mr. Girby Sikyang ma Miss Mariposa ngira mangyor ma Mr. Stallone Obakarairur mabol baskira national anthem.
Belau lobak lisi era lulu eldim lang argira raoder me bang mangal wal mara imol balu El ngara eung elarira alo bagasa Bodo legeta gagaru era balwa Lola babla gale madu sakli siye Boda kai ware gadain logi ware edong at mokara tim lagote Loma aliwara maden maklap kale Logi wabuda amabalti kare Dios mo makmaltangat rabenumang El dimla diga samela raodanme Basta mo maklisi ang malamaltang Lord, taklong nyo alamal mo aral.
Patangagin ulit. Mr. President, kadamalmal mra tala tsendargin makulingit na makotong ya roll call.
Clear kan mga roll ko ra Senate.
Senator Regis Agitaya. Senator Rubay Kikuo Inabo.
Oy.
Senator Jonathan Shoy Saal. Senator Stevenson J. Quarte.
Oy.
Senator T.J. Imrur Mangasaw.
Oy.
Senator Mark Huerbalao Rudim. Senator Umi Sangabaw.
Oy.
Senator Kazuki L. Taps Sungino.
Oy.
Senator Andrew Tabalwal.
Oy.
Senator Mason Ngir-Abangal Whips.
Oy.
Floor Leader Cecilil Aldabel.
Oy.
Vice President Karay Mariur. President Hokons Baules.
Oy.
Mr. President, tangan nga quorum.
Mr. Speaker, Senate tangari ang quorum itirgel al Senator Saldivos excused. Munsibedal
Sula,
game malmulmaureded mamgarol kol.
Sula, Presidente, clear ka mo roll call ra House of Delegates.
Speaker Sabino Anastasio,
Oy.
Delegate Masasinge Arurang,
Oy.
Delegate Yustaka Gibbons Jr.,
Oy.
Delegate Mario S. Culibert,
Oy.
Floor Leader Gibson Kanay, Delegate Noah Kamsong, Delegate Sebastian R. Marino, Vice Speaker Lucio Ngirayuet, Delegate Vicky Ngiratkak Kanay, Delegate Sweni Ongidobl, Delegate Lee T. Otob, Delegate Mangur W. Alulg, Delegate Timothy R. Sinsak, Delegate Nays Enzo Alablay,
Oy.
Delegate Frutoso Toto Talay,
Oy.
Delegate Warren S. Umetaro,
Oy.
Mr. Speaker, nga niya quorum.
Mr. President, tiyagi nga diya quorum ra House at tigil. Hindi nga artiyang excused.
Sulang yes, Speaker, floor leader.
Mr. President, Kama Speaker, sige nga niya quorum ra igal tablol ulay. Although tirak lalo ulay igal chambers, Mr. President, and for the formality tial business elal fourth joint session, ebo ku la motion suspend the rules, ebo se pedal invite our guest regidel mesois para al sa chamber.
Sige na motion na mutong eseg, trigger rogul gongel doy,
Oy.
omtok, namay. Floor leader.
Always, Mr. Speaker, medon tira Sergeant at Arms, House of Delegates, also invite His Excellency Surang Alwips Jr., President of Republic, al Mesois, al Mengwaging Alil. Darni tarbek laan ang baldat or sel President. Dalit dito malamol maldor, bukun tira Sergeant at Arms ra Senate, bolsa escort His Excellency John Hennessy Nyland, our honored guest, el Mesois, malmengwaging alin, sulak. It's all be seated. Mr. President, takmo olingit trakaw mga teme me skitsel wal welcoming remark ay kal tablo blay.
Sulang floor leader. Speaker Sabino Anastasio, members of the House of Delegates, and my fellow senators. His Excellency President Surang Luis Jr., Vice President and Minister of Justice Udo Sangpao Sr., Chief Justice Oldiais Ngiraglao, members of the Cabinet and distinguished members of Diplomatic Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali, Ungil Tutaw, good morning. Please join me in extending our warmest welcome and regards to our honored guest, His Excellency John Hennessy Nyland, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the United States of America to the Republic of Palau. To address the fourth joint session of the Olbil Raglulaw and the people of the Republic of Palau, thank you all for joining the Senate and the House of Delegates this morning. Mr. Ambassador, the Olbil Raglulaw recognizes the valuable contributions the government of the United States of America has offered and extended over the period of our friendship and historic relationship, particularly the past 2 years during your tenure as Palau faced challenges borne by the COVID-19 pandemic. The United States government, through your visionary leadership, provided critical aid to strengthen the Ministry of Health and Human Services and the Republic's capacity to respond to this global health crisis. Because of your tireless efforts and commitment, the Republic successfully achieved 98% vaccination rate of our population, effectively protecting the health and well-being of our people. The Olbi Raglulao further acknowledge your support and effort to further the dialogue and the negotiation of the Compact of Free Association, community engagement and support you have extended in the areas of education, infrastructure, security, sports, and environment, and your overall commitment to strengthen our bilateral relationship is displayed throughout your term. Because of your effort, Palau and the United States are in a better standing today, and we hope to continue to enhance and maintain our friendship and partnership moving forward. Mr. Ambassador, please accept the sincere appreciation and gratitude of the Olbil Raglulao for your steadfast leadership and brotherhood and your unwavering service to the people of Palau. Kakmal Masulang Ambassador, thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, it is my distinct honor and privilege to invite His Excellency John Hennessy Nyland, United States Ambassador to the Republic of Palau, to give us his special remarks. Please, Mr. Ambassador, take the podium.
Ali, Tutau, good morning. I'd like to begin here at the beautiful Capitol by thanking the Senate President and the Speaker of the House for this invitation to address this special joint session of the OEK. I'd also like to thank as well both chambers of the OEK for the honor of their joint resolution welcoming me to the Capitol. And thank you, Mr. Floor Leader, for your kind introduction this morning. I very much appreciate the opportunity to speak with the members of the Senate and the House. Mr. President, President Whips, Chief Justice, traditional leaders, members of the judiciary, the diplomatic corps, U.S. Embassy colleagues, and all honored guests, thank you for being present today. I'd also like to thank the Sergeant of Arms for looking after us so well this morning. It has been an extraordinary opportunity and a very special privilege to serve as the Ambassador of the United States of America to the Republic of Palau. And here at the Capitol, at the very top of my remarks to this joint session today, I would like to sincerely note my appreciation for the important work that legislatures must do as the elected representatives of the people of Palau. I am not a politician, only a diplomat. However, I know that your work is not easy. And I think that everyone here has heard or knows of the expression, you can't please all the people all the time, something I'm a little familiar with as the U.S. Ambassador. So I want to personally thank all of the members of the OEK for their service to the people of Palau and this great republic. As ambassador, I have tried my very best to do everything I personally can to help ensure that the partnership between our two great republics is as strong as it can be, and that our bonds are as enduring as the legends of Palau and as solid as the rock islands of this beautiful nation. In my view, we are in a unique period in the history of this world. Never before at least in modern times, have nations confronted a challenge such as the global COVID pandemic. I and my wife Julie arrived in Koror on the very last flight from Guam before the borders closed. And we will be departing just a few days from now after the ending of all testing requirements for COVID. And hopefully soon, very soon, there will be a resumption of more flights and more visitors from all over the globe. In our time here in Palau, of all the accomplishments that we have achieved together as partners, none, in my view, has been as important or is more important than responding to that threat, to the threat of COVID. There is no higher responsibility for any government of any nation, for the executive and for all its elected officials at the national, state, and local levels. There is no more important obligation, in my view, than the welfare of the people and to keep citizens, residents, and visitors safe. From the very first days of the pandemic, the United States and Palau have worked together, literally day and night, to do whatever we could to ensure the well-being of all our people. And when I speak of partnership, which I do often, this is possibly the very best example of what I mean by the very special partnership and unique relationship between the United States and the Republic of Palau. We care for each other, and we always will. I am proud of the decision by the U.S. Congress to treat Palau and the freely associated states in exactly the same way as the 50 United States, as part of the homeland, while recognizing their sovereign and independent status. My immediate response as the ambassador was to provide emergency funding to Palau, as my government worked on viruses with other governments around the world to counter the spread of the virus. More funding came to Palau with the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, better known here as the CARES Act. The $2.2 trillion economic stimulus bill passed by the 116th U.S. Congress, which directly benefited the people of Palau at a very difficult time. I personally ran out to the airport in the middle of the night, of course, as all flights seem to arrive in the middle of the night, together with the Minister of Health at the time, to meet the plane carrying the very first supplies of personal protective equipment, what we all know now as PPE, the masks, the gloves, the sanitizers, and so much else, to help keep all of us safe as possible, in particular, our medical frontliners. And I would like to pay a special tribute and to say thank you to the fantastic health providers and the Ministry of Health and Human Services, and to thank them here publicly, again, for all of their tireless work. We owe them all in Palau and in the United States and in every nation our enormous gratitude. Once vaccines were approved by the CDC and the FDA, we immediately shipped them out to Palau and followed up with teams of doctors and nurses who worked side by side with their Palauan counterparts. And I hope I can speak for everyone here to say how thankful I am for the work of Dr. B and Dr. Hancock and all the experts from the CDC and the U.S. Public Health Service who did so much to help keep the citizens of Palau safe and well. President Whips and I were the very first in Palau to be vaccinated. It was important to show that everyone should do this and that the vaccines work. And I suppose maybe after a few days or so, just to make sure that nothing happened to the President and I. Palau quickly became a model for the rest of the world, with, as you said, Mr. Senate President, over 98% of its population now fully vaccinated. That is a huge accomplishment and testimony to that hard work I mentioned from MHHS and all the people of Palau. And more than anything else, I hope that this shows the partnership that I talk about often, that the U.S. will always be here to help the people of Palau in good times and in bad. And I suppose it's appropriate that my wife and I arrived on that very last flight before the borders closed and the pandemic seized the world. We have just out by the Pinchers here the USS Mercy, one of the 2 hospital ships of the United States Navy. If you put that ship on land, it would be the 8th largest hospital in the United States. It is here this week to provide medical assistance to the people of Palau. And I suppose if I was going to choose 2 bookends to our tenure here in Palau, that is particularly appropriate and fitting. But there are other examples. I'll mention one now, and there are many more I could list, but I think would show, hopefully, that our partnership makes a real difference. And that example I want to mention is how we work together to keep people safe in the aftermath of Typhoon Surigay. I was with the Vice President and the good people of the National Emergency Management Office, what we all know as NEMO, very early in the morning. And I don't know why, but one of my very first bosses once told me, nothing good happens after midnight, and I think it tends to be true if you work for government. So we were there very early that day, and for days and weeks afterwards, with our 2 governments and partners such as the U.S. Coast Guard and the Palau Red Cross worked together to help the people of Kayangal and the people of Palau recover. I sincerely believe this. Together we can overcome any challenge, and that we are stronger, more resilient, and better off together as friends and partners. Keeping Palau and the Pacific safe and secure is one of my and one of our highest shared priorities. In the time I have been ambassador, our defense cooperation has greatly accelerated in terms of funding, activities, and presence to meet the needs of Palau and our partners in the region. And the U.S. is committed to upholding our defense and security commitments as part of our compact of free association with the Republic of Palau. Exercises just this year, such as Valiant Shield and Koa Moana 2022, I suggest demonstrates that commitment is as live and as real and as strong as it has ever been. And I trust that this commitment to the defense and security of the good people of Palau offers reassurance to the region of our support for a free and open Indo-Pacific. And even during the global pandemic, we were able, thanks to our partnership, to safely continue our military exercises that have helped provide an economic lifeline due to the limited number of visitors to Palau. I strongly believe the economic benefits of our military engagements will continue to grow in the months and years to come, and our presence and partnership will help protect the people of Palau. I am pleased to note that this year, before the end of 2022, the U.S. Embassy will have a new Office of Defense Cooperation to assist with the coordination and planning, and yes, the contracting associated with our increased military support to Palau. As part of this growth in our partnership, we now have a USAID country coordinator at the embassy, and we'll have, as of next month in August, an additional State Department officer here as part of the embassy country team. So we are growing side by side with Palau. And USAID is a key partner in the development of Palau and all our partners across the globe, and specifically in the new fiber optic cable that is already being laid and which will come ashore and be operational in just over a year or so, which will be very important for Palau's continued and future prosperity. The U.S., together with Australia and Japan, as part of a trilateral infrastructure partnership and with the government of Palau, made this happen. And it will greatly connect Palau to global e-commerce and online business opportunities. Of course, it takes a large team to be successful. I'd like to thank everyone here in Palau who has been so helpful to us, to my wife and I, and to the embassy team, and to the relationship with the United States as partners and friends, like-minded, who believe in freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. We all know there are choices and competition in the life of nations, just as there are for individuals. I never forget this, and I never take any relationship for granted. What I have sought for the U.S. and for Palau, and for all our friends here in the Pacific and around the world, is to live peacefully and to prosper. I am pleased that a special U.S. presidential envoy for the compact negotiations has been appointed, former U.S. Ambassador Joseph Yun. I look forward and am optimistic about the successful conclusion of the negotiations on the economic provisions of the compact agreement with Palau, which benefits both great republics. And it isn't just in the discussion on the compact where we are seeking to listen and to better understand and address and meet the needs and interests of Palau and the region. Vice President Kamala Harris announced last week in Suva that the U.S. will be requesting the funding from the U.S. Congress for $60 million annually for the next 10 years for the Pacific Tuna Treaty and related environmental and climate assistance. Earlier this year, the U.S. was so pleased to co-host with Palau the incredible Our Ocean Conference. I want to congratulate Palau, the government and its people, everyone who worked so hard to make Our Ocean 2022 such a great success. Over 70 countries represented, over 200 civil society groups present, close to 1,000 people in attendance, and 16 billion, not million, $16 billion in new commitments to protect the oceans. A fantastic accomplishment that I believe deserves a round of applause. I am pleased and proud as the ambassador of our U.S. Embassy over here in IRI that we did our part to contribute to a greener Palau. The U.S. Embassy is now the first U.S. Embassy anywhere in the world to be certified as completely solar-powered and net zero. And we are, in fact, providing energy back to the national grid here in Palau. And speaking of beautiful Palau, Julie and I have enjoyed so many aspects of our life here. Some of our favorites include, and there are way too many to list in these brief remarks, but we have loved everything to do with the beautiful ocean and the waters of Palau. Diving, fishing, being just in or under or on the water, watching the amazing sunsets, eating very well, trying to keep fit, softball, soccer, the Hive, the night market by Friendship Bridge, the musicals at Palau High School, the annual Christmas parade, and riding on the float with the young people from the hamlet of Ibid, visiting the states and the hamlets, meeting with the traditional leaders and all Palauans, and working with my diplomatic colleagues and our Ministry of State counterparts and the government of Palau. One of the greatest memories, and what was a very special occasion for us, was the invitation by President Whips to join his delegation to Taiwan. Julie and I want to thank the President and thank everyone in Taiwan who welcomed us so very warmly. Thank you. Soon, though, my wife Julie and I will get on another plane and depart and leave Palau. I very much, however, plan to continue to work on issues of importance to Palau, to the Pacific region, and to the United States. I am pleased to share that I have been appointed as a professor and will lead the Diplomacy and Statecraft program and studies at the Bush School of Government and Public Service at Texas A&M University starting this autumn. And I'll share with you that one of the joys of leaving government service is that I can now tell my former colleagues what they should be doing, and publicly. So keep an eye out for me, possibly CNN or something like that. That will be fun. And I do hope to encourage and excite the next generation of leaders, no matter where they come from, of men and women who are interested in serving their countries. Speaking of Texas A&M and the Bush School, which is named after President Bush Sr., there's a special connection to Palau. He flew here in the skies above these islands during World War II as a naval aviator. It was some of President Bush Sr.'s historic aerial photography that helped Project Recovery find the remains of a U.S. Avenger aircraft in the waters off of Koror. I was honored to dive with President Whips and Project Recovery to pay our respects at the site and to help with the effort, the ongoing effort, to return the remains of loved ones to the families whose sons made the ultimate sacrifice far from home. I know that a number of Palauans have made that sacrifice as well, far from these shores. And I would like to pay my deepest respect to the Gold Star families and all of Palau's veterans. You have a special place in my heart for putting yourself in harm's way to defend all of us. I am personally forever grateful. Thank you for your service. As I return to America, as I mentioned, I look forward to contributing in a new way, hopefully encouraging, exciting young people about serving their country and their communities. I believe truly, and as corny as it sounds, that public service is a noble calling and is needed now more than ever before. It has been the greatest honor and a very special privilege to have served as the United States Ambassador to Palau and to end my diplomatic career in these beautiful islands after 35 years of service to my nation. I want to thank my wife Julie, my family for all their support. Such a life is not possible without their love and willingness to accept the hardships that come with a career of service alongside the joys of what has been a great career. I will always cherish the friendship and partnership between our two great republics, and will always, always stand ready to do what I can to help the people of Palau and the United States of America. In closing, I want to acknowledge the fantastic team at the U.S. Embassy. They are present today, and Julie and I want to say thank you so very much for everything you all have done to help us personally and to strengthen the relationship between Palau and the United States of America. Thank you so much. I'd also like briefly to give a shout out to the wonderful people at the Bureau of Public Safety for keeping us safe, for driving me around so well, and for taking care of me generally. So thank you so much. I'd also like to recognize the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Ambassador Kawasawa of Japan, for leading the Diplomatic Corps, the honorary members of the Consulate Corps, and for doing everything together in a spirit of partnership with Richelle and Jessica and myself. Thank you so much. And to all my diplomatic colleagues, it has been an honor and a privilege to work with you. Thank you. President Whips, to all the members of your cabinet and government and the offices of Palau, to the traditional leaders of beloved Palau, to the Chief Justice, and to all our honored guests here today, thank you so much for your kindness, friendship, and partnership, and for allowing Julie and I to feel so much at home here in Palau. For Julie and myself, it has been our greatest pleasure to have lived here in what truly is the pristine paradise of Palau, and together with you to have been so warmly welcomed. Thank you again. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Senate President, to all of the members of the OEK, thank you for this honor and the invitation to speak at this special joint session. Thank you for all that you do for the Republic of Palau, and thank you for your support for the United States of America. Julie and I will miss what has become our home. Mesulong, Akmorolong.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for your wonderful remarks. Mr. President, House Speaker, me iba kumte ergi de orang asula la President atakal President Whips ma Vice President ma Ministers, Cabinet Members, ma direkal orang asula la, of course, our honored guest Ambassador John Hennessy Island, material members of diplomatic corps, or ambassadors, members of diplomatic corps. No se pide el chon ergidel al tutao da morong singal tobets el okya ergidel ambassador Ablam Rigel, direct el sel mo lebong el remark angil mergida da la Congress. Me club también azul me presidente como Adam Beklad, no se pide el chon ergidel da singa ambassador. Mr. Ambassador, I want to say on behalf of the two chambers, thank you very much for your wonderful remarks. We will take your remarks to heart, and we will remember you for the wonderful work that you provided through your service as an ambassador to Palau. Your tenure, although is a bit short and bittersweet, we believe that the Palauan people will be remembering you, and you will be remembered by Palauan people for a long time, for especially during this difficult time, not just in the world, but for Palau as well, as we went through this public health situation that affected the lives of many people around the world. And through your service, you were able to help keep Palau safe and the people of Palau well throughout this difficult time. So with that said, I want to wish you well in your final days of your public service, and we hope that you will be able to find time to return and visit Palau, although you will be in a much greener pasture maybe in the beach of Waikiki or the Caribbeans, but we want to let you know that Palau will continue to have an open arm for you and Julie and your family to come and visit Palau again in the near future. And we will continue to regard you as a good friend of Palau from here on. So with that, thank you again for coming and deliver your final remarks to the Congress. Mr. President, sa kita kora maula pong tigingnya de kada malmol mertial agenda lagi kada morsel announcement al ngania announcement rangi dil ade era ada basta ala ade digu aiset masengani sel al reception rakap sengay sel wabol final reception ra kabangkala ambassador president tam direct morsel Chief Justice, looking forward to see you there. Sekab singera 6 o'clock ra amayo, madalngi tarbek la mo sa edel morsel on time eda si amaw lubong sisil time po sa edel malmsum na ambassador. Tiya ka ngot announcement. Alage pokon tira lutlon tira Pastor Chamberlain Kinciano. Bol sa el meskita benediction el time. Dalitin po or.
On. And let's all bow our heads for prayer. Adam Dios ang ngarayang at akilmutan mermatam. Marayang asule marayagel tokoil ambasador am lokmung. Michael Urior. El gawa ulaki ungi ma aratra embasira belum rigel ngarbelaw o tar swang yeso el merga mama belum meruba dabo ko bes sel tiging yero bakal wase sel datak ekatam sisi ako maral wase seulaklat ka el merga ikal tablol blay el waseng giril motmak mansabel sabil mom sisi rubak Maurior amom sisiro ba. Ulingit terkaro ba mom kaltangatra ambasador Luram Rigel niya Amerika Aurele Rabelaw momrail ni mabil ding waigel di luru ba kalwaseng momrail din dia kalastov el Laurior el Girel abalur Belaw mabekal belu mabuluram Rigel ba. Mom kaltangatra tir Rigel borngi mol malos pertir rubak protector tir matrungal gartir masabire rubak mol el matmok laurior el olmaserarat triqlo dosia president rablu mamre bela mo vice president el tirang artia rubak maigel lurior el tirang matmok el kirela agiram mablumam mol merubak lo mestri aklisiir mabot sabir el mol el laurior o sabire rubakal motaran rir e bol ngaral sila buda ngaral sila de oreng elongot mok laurior elot ngel wasika o penterir trigal modrosia presidentra senate ma speaker a house trigal rogul senator ma rogul delegates ma rogul mga taklira kamamar ada belaw ng artiang Michael Baby Rabalu po sabi merubakal malmol malomastri aklisiir emol mos mertir emol mos marmamar adar belaw direct mabos ba mal kay ngasew egim kat makliya blumam el ngosutrir adar ngar alsel mabos sabil ngoriak ela kadil ngoriak lak lang artida tora bululat dire ka sabil ngoriak al mukmedra garubak mabalu por klabokol elungil egim ngarabuda egim ngarade oreng egim mongir gaul mutel may me malar kamam imbreng asulem o da siyang nungu amle gorgaw o lingitingin ngarak lela di tangal gem ni Jesus am notong tingiyak lang arina karusel giram rowi amen amen
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, marmara ulabong otial session ergi na mabokralya motion Almo Osmariti al Ford joint session ra 11 Olbira Klulaw.
Sige na motion na madung second en bod asmri tel ngia mo ngewal joint session ra olbi raglulaw. Dirigir rogul gongel duoy
Oy.
omtok na mo ay si omal msulang.